Welcome to the Unity in the Wild session. I'm Yilmaz Kıymaz. I'm an independent game developer from Istanbul. Thank you for making it here, and thank you for waiting. We're probably going to go into the break after the session a little bit, but we're not going to make you miss your next session. So in this session, we're going to talk about unique and possibly unexpected uses of Unity by people that may or may not be game developers. So if you are a game developer, at a conference like this, you probably get asked questions like, oh, do you make games? Do you make social games, web games, Facebook games, console games, et cetera, et cetera? But you might not even be making a game. You might be making an interactive art installation. You could be making architectural visualization, augmented reality, and a lot of other stuff. So if you remember in the keynote, David Helgeson talked a lot about going nuts. So it seemed like almost that it was the theme of this Unite was going nuts. So we're going to celebrate those people who go nuts with Unity in this session. And we have two speakers this year. First one is Valentin, and I'm going to invite him over to the stage to talk about his projects at Interactive Lab. I'm going to open up your presentation.
Hello. Just a moment. So my name is Valentin Simonov. I'm a Chief Interaction Engineer in the Interactive Lab. And we are a studio based in Moscow, Russia. And we specialize in interactive installations. And today I want to show you a couple of our projects. Okay, I should do this. Oops. This was unexpected. Oh. Okay, I'm feeling stupid. How do you change the slide? All right. Anyway, while Yilmaz is helping me to set this up because obviously it doesn't work, I start talking about the project. So it's a rough day. So the first project is audio reactive 3D projection mapping. It sounds a bit weird, and I really need a picture to show that. Basically, what is, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
So how do you?
Left and right arrows over here.
Okay, just we selected something wrong. Okay, so this project was done for a Tele2 party in St. Petersburg, Russia. So basically, what's 3D projection mapping is it's when you take a real 3D object and one or more projectors and project specially distorted image onto this object that it looks like an object has a colorful animated texture, like looking like this. So with this project, as it usually happens with our projects, we had a very tight deadline, and we couldn't afford to build completely custom shape, completely custom structure. So we used these cardboard modules to assemble these letters. And by the way, this is the word "we" in Russian. These cardboard modules also had smaller versions. So you see the scale with the Xbox controller. So we could build smaller versions in the office to test. This is how the test mapping looked like. So we had two letters, two projectors. Also, we had the same scene set up in the Unity with all effects and textures configured. And this is how it looked live. So there should be sound. We added different effects, synchronized it with live audio input, added a lot of textures there. Also, during live presentation, we used iPad to sort of control parameters and to do some VJing. So you can see different effects, and they all react to sound. And Unity really helped us to configure and set up this project because we had everything in a virtual scene, and when we finally came to the club, we found out that projector's placement is wrong, but luckily we didn't have to change much because I built a special editor toolkit to configure all the effects to place virtual projectors and virtual models with textures applied. So here we used only 2 projectors for each for 1 letter, and the letters were really simple to build, and we really liked how all this setup with the Unity and the projection mapping worked. So next time we decided to build something more complex using more projectors. And the next project, it was for the exhibition. We created a tree-like structure. So you see it's a triangular structure in the middle of the hall. We used 4 projectors to light it up. And it was synchronized with ambient light. So it was standing there in the middle. It was basically a big light source. So standing there, creating a specific atmosphere. This video is sped up. Actually, the real tree was much more animated much more smoothly and slowly. So you can see how it lives there and changes these patterns, changes colors. All these patterns were taken from the photos around. So they integrate. So the structure integrates seamlessly in their exhibition. So as you can see, this tree is much more complex than the previous model, and it really took us about I think 2 days to assemble a small version of it. Right. But as you see, we used child slave labor to make it on time. And this time, the editor extension I built was even more powerful. So, first of all, it was used to place all the things, all the models consisting of 4 parts in the virtual scene and sync the positions with real models. Also, we use this toolkit to position virtual projectors and to sync their positions to the real ones. Using this toolkit when the exhibition started, we were able to configure it and calibrate the projection very precisely. And also I built a special tool which allowed us to calculate triangles visibility, basically which projector sees which triangles. And that's when we found out that 4 projectors were actually not enough. This is how it looked in Unity in a virtual scene. You can see a bunch of cameras and virtual projectors that reprojecting stuff. These pink triangles are actually those triangles which are not seen by any projector. But luckily, most of them are inside the tree. So this is how it worked. And the next video is what projectors actually projected on the structure. As you can see, their images are distorted. But when they are projected on the tree, they fit just like they were intended to. So with this project, with these 2 projects, we found Unity to be of a great help because we could easily set up virtual scenes, add effects, and some people from our team who are not developers could use the toolkit I built to configure their installation and change content. So the next one is, the next and the last one is very different. Sometimes clients come to us and ask to build a presentation which is unique, and they want to advertise or present their products or events or whatever. And they usually come with PowerPoint slides, which most of the time are kind of ugly. So our job is to take these slides and turn them into this. So this was a presentation for electronic university system in Vladivostok, Russia. So basically, you can see that content is totally the same, but how it's presented matters. So the presenter was standing there in front of this semi-transparent display, and he was able to control 3 video projection displays. This is a great way to, if you want to impress someone. And actually, we had more projects like this, and we found that Unity allows us to build such projects, such presentations very fast. And at the beginning of every project, I start with creating a tool to help me assemble the final installation and to be able to change content later, because clients always like changing everything in the last minute. So if, for example, we used a pre-rendered video, we couldn't change anything without re-rendering all the stuff. So I think that's it. And if you have any questions, you can ask some of them right now, but you can write down the email or message me on Twitter. So thanks for coming. If anyone has questions, there is a mic there. You have 5 seconds. No? All right, you can catch me up later. Thank you.
Thank you, Valentin. Very impressive work. Next up, we have Ross Ingram from Orbotics. He's going to show off Sphero, which is a very neat little robot. I just want to pull up his presentation. Ross, come on up.
Hello? Hello? Can you? Okay, cool. Thank you, AV guys. That's a stressful job, I can only imagine. So cool. I'm Ben Affleck, and I'm here to talk about cats. I'm just kidding. I'm Ross Ingram with Orbotics, the creators of Sphero, and I'm here to talk about using robots for augmented reality. So just a show of hands, who has heard or seen Sphero? A couple of people. Okay, cool. For those who haven't heard or seen Sphero, I'm going to play a little video that will kind of share what Sphero is. But Sphero is a robot ball you can control with your smartphone. It works via Bluetooth, works on iOS and Android. And there's a bunch of different games that allow you to do a bunch of different cool stuff. And we got started in 2010 with the idea that there's this new realm of play that combines your physical devices with your virtual experiences. And we're out to kind of conquer that realm. You can currently get Sphero in the Apple Store, Target, Brookstone, Barnes & Noble, all over the place. I'm going to play a quick video. Make sure we have sound. Could I get sound? There we go.
Sphero is a sophisticated and programmable robot housed in a durable polycarbonate shell. So durable, in fact, that you can stand on it. It travels easily and gives you over an hour of non-stop play with cable-free induction charging. Sphero is iOS and Android compatible with over 20 free games and apps available for download. There are tons of ways that you can play with Sphero, and there's definitely something for everyone. From kids and pets to adults and gadget geeks. You can drive it and build race or obstacle courses. It's even waterproof so you can take it for a swim. You can pick it up, hold it in your hand, and use it as a controller for games like Exile, which is totally addicting. Sphero is also reinventing the idea of board games, so you can gather friends and family around for tabletop games like Color Grab. If you have more than one Sphero, you can play multiplayer games like Tag. Finally, Sphero offers augmented reality games that are unlike any other product.
Pretty cool, huh? So as you can see, Sphero is much more than just a robot ball. It's something we're calling a robot gaming system, using all these different games and applications. What we're really excited about, though, is Sphero and the use of augmented reality. Traditionally, augmented reality has been very fixed. You have a printed out marker, and you identify this marker with the camera on your device, and you overlay some kind of 3D character. And that's cool. It's a cool tech demo, but it's not, I don't know, I don't think it's personally fun. What we've been able to do using the sensors on the ball and some of the other crazy vision stuff that we've come up with is to create a better augmented reality experience using Sphero. And to date, we've released 2 iOS and Android applications. The first of them is Sharky the Beaver. And with Sharky the Beaver, you're looking through your iPad, and instead of seeing the ball, you're actually seeing this 3D character. He's a beaver who thinks he's a shark, and you throw cupcakes at him, and he runs around and eats the cupcakes, and it's a lot of fun. The second game we most recently released is called The Rolling Dead. And with this, we're not overlaying a 3D character on the ball. You can still see the ball, but rather zombies are being spawned into the virtual world, and you being the fire-wielding robot ball are able to shoot fire at them and kill them before they eat you. So it's a lot of fun. I'm going to go into kind of what it takes to create this awesome augmented reality experience, but just so you can get an idea of what it looks like, I'm going to play a quick video for The Rolling Dead.
Rolling Dead is unlike any video game you've ever played. Using Sphero as a fireball shooting warrior, you must battle against virtual zombies as they spawn out of the ground. Shoot them with fireballs, collect flaming power-ups, and roll away to stay alive. The world becomes a video game, and you choose the surroundings. The question is, how long can you survive?
Huh? Pretty cool. Augmented reality hasn't really been, there hasn't been gameplay like that to date with augmented reality. And we think that using a robot, as well as some of the vision algorithms that are out there, creates for just a better augmented reality experience. And you may be asking, well, how do you do that, Ross? And I'm glad you asked that. I'm going to go through just a couple different data points that we look at to create this awesome augmented reality experience. So we first start with Sphero. Sphero is a robot, has a 3-axis accelerometer, a 3-axis gyroscope, and we fuse those sensors together to create what's called an IMU. An IMU is just a fancy word for a control system, so that Sphero knows which way's up, which way's down, left, right, and so on. The next point of data we look at is the data from the user's device, whether it's an iPad or an Android device. We take the accelerometer and gyro stuff from that, bring those numbers in, as well as the data from the live camera feed. Next, we use our vision algorithms to detect the ball. We detect edges, we detect the ground, we detect the color of the ground, we detect the color of the ball, and any other relevant data that we feel might create for a better augmented reality experience. Next, we take the data from Sphero's motors. This allows us to get a sense of orientation for the robot. So if we know it's traveling away from the user or coming towards the user. And finally, after we have all this data, we do a bunch of geometry and statistics and just some rough duct tape to fuse all these numbers together to create a sense of where Sphero is in the real world. We also get from this the height of the player, the position of where we should place the virtual objects in the scene, color of the lights, color of the scene, and et cetera. And in the end, we get this really magical experience that just hasn't been able to be done with a moving fiducial before. This is a picture of Sharky the Beaver. You can see he's built up a little bookcase to get the cupcakes on the counter. And it's just a lot of fun. I invite you guys to check out Sphero. We do have 2 Unity plugins released. One of them is just a basic connect to your Sphero, control Sphero. It's in the asset store. We also have our augmented reality vision SDK, which is free for developers to try out and play with. And if you guys have any questions or anything, I guess feel free to ask them right now. Otherwise, I'll be around afterwards if you guys want to play with some robots and zombies. Jeff, you have a question? Yeah, so the question is, how is Sphero detected from the camera? The beautiful thing about Sphero is it's a ball. It looks the same from any angle. It's bright. It's easy to detect. I mean, it's not easy to detect, but it's easier to detect than it would be to detect any other kind of object or robot. So we just look for a glowing orb in the scene. I think if you want to ask questions, I think there's a mic over here. Just want to make sure everybody. Okay. So currently we're working on that. It's really hard to do. Once Sphero has a lock on, or once the camera has a lock on the specific Sphero that it's tracking, it does a really good job of maintaining that lock unless another Sphero gets directly in with it. But like I said, using the data from the robot, we know if the robot's moving, so we can determine if one robot is moving in one vector and one's moving in another. We're able to kind of create this better experience. But we want to get multi-ball tracking working. It's just super hard to do at this point. Any other questions? Go ahead.
So you've got a rolling ball, right? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do next?
We have a lot of really cool prototypes we've built in the office as far as different robots and different ways that mostly kids will play. We haven't announced anything yet, but we're excited to share kind of what we've been building, and we might announce something at the next CES. Go ahead.
Do you have in-game collisions, as in you're driving the ball and you bump into something, it stops?
Yeah, so the question was, do we have in-game collisions? And yeah, we do. Since the ball is in the real world, we're able to detect if it runs into something, given a threshold of the accelerometer. And in the instance of Sharky the Beaver, he does emote when he runs into a wall. Little stars come up over his head, and he looks around and gets mad at you.
What if you bump into a zombie? The zombie's only on the screen.
In the game of Rolling Dead, if you bump into the zombies, they'll actually attack you and kill you. Any other questions? No? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Do you have any plans for a basketball robot?
For a basketball robot? Not specifically. We do have a robot called the Peacekeeper. It's a 3-foot diameter Sphero, essentially. It goes 25 miles per hour and is connected via Bluetooth. The same way, it's basically just a Sphero inside connected to very large motors and wheels, and it's pretty dangerous. We built it as an April Fool's joke, and the joke was we actually built it. Any other questions? I think, go ahead. Yeah, so the question was, are the zombies positioned relative to Sphero? There are no additional markers in the scene. It's just Sphero. And in the instance of the Rolling Dead, yes, the zombies know where Sphero is. And so once they spawn into the world, they'll turn around and face the ball and slowly walk towards the ball to kill you. Last question.
Are there any restrictions on the environment in which you can play these games? Do you have to have a certain safe space where there can be no obstacles, or it can be any random thing?
The question was, were there any restrictions? There is. I mean, Sphero is in the real world, so you do have to, Sphero can't go through a wall like, some other augmented reality stuff will allow you to do. So it is restricted to the real world, but I mean, other than that, Sphero gets about 80 meters distance, so I mean, you could, there's really no restrictions for distance or anything like that. I'll be around if you guys have any additional questions, but yeah, come check out The Rolling Dead and, I don't know, play with Sphero. Thank you. Thanks.
That was Sphero. Okay. Next up are two projects by Carolina Sobeka, who's an installation artist, but she couldn't be here even though she really wanted to. So she prepared a video for us to watch and listen to that describes those two projects. Can we get the projector view up?
My name is Carolina Sobeka, and I'm an artist, designer, and animator. The first project I worked on that was built in Unity was Sniff, and it was made in 2009. So it's a rear projection in a storefront window that is facing a public walkway. The dog that you see follows people around and responds to their gestures. This is a taming gesture, holding out a hand and standing still. And the dog will sort of get friendly. He'll put down his ears and wag his tail. And all these interactions affect his overall kind of mood or personality. So the more friendly people are towards him, the more friendly he'll become to people he interacts with next. If there's more than one person around, he'll pick his favorite person that he thinks is most interesting from his dog point of view. If the person does something that he thinks is scary or aggressive, he'll jump back or bark. He'll become more scared or aggressive. The way this works, there's a camera overlooking the interaction area. Originally, it was actually built with just a black and white analog camera sensitive to IR light. Now we're using Kinect, but we're also just doing bow tracking. The tracking app was built in Open Frameworks, and then James George, who worked on the development of this project, worked with Rockwell Group Lab to wrap it into an app that is open source. It's called OpenTSPS. So this tracking information is sent over OSC to Unity, where the dog is then scripted to behave according to this input. And this behavior is built from lots of short little animations that are picked at random from a group of animations that represent a particular emotional state. So how enthusiastic or how bored or how friendly he is. So most of my projects are like this, presented not in the art context, but to be encountered in people's daily lives. There's no sort of preconceived frameworks for understanding what it is or what it's for. So people actually spend a lot of time with it, trying to figure it out and interacting with it and trying to figure out how to relate to something like this. So I'm interested in the technology and how the role it plays in our lives, but mostly in the mechanics of our behavior towards each other, our interpretation of apparent behavior, communication, construction of agency, and construction of other minds. This project is called Fourth. It's also an interactive projection, a permanent public art project at the Institute of Simulation and Training at UCF. It also uses TSPS for getting person interaction information in the lobby, but it's mostly responding to live weather data that is pulled from the local weather stations. The projection is an endless oceanscape that is generated in real time based on this weather data, expressing things like precipitation, visibility, cloud coverage, wave height, wind, and so on. And there are people in boats going across this open up water, this oceanscape. They're alone or arranged in groups that suggest little narratives within these boats, but it's against the background of this journey where they have to stay upright and on course in the waters that are often turbulent in this environment that is really governed by something outside of anybody's control, really. So the weather variation provides this endless variability and unpredictability and the plot of this project. It's installed in our research institutions. Most people see it every day, and it was interesting to design for that kind of context for something that could unfold slowly and for a long time.
It was interesting to come over here on a bad day just to see what it looked like and see what the change was.
It was a super foggy day, and I came in here, and it caught me off guard that the piece was foggy. There was a foghorn, and it was just really cool because it not only augmented this space, but it kind of augmented the outside space. We're in a traditional space, kind of looking at a traditional thing, but the way it behaves and the way we interact with it are kind of looking at new technologies on how people interact with each other, how we share and get data in public spaces.
Okay, so that was Sniff and Forth. And Sniff was actually showcased at Unite 10, again in the Wild session that Matthew Wagner presented. But I wanted to get the actual creator of the project to tell us a bit about it, so that's why she recorded the video. The time right now is 5:10, so we're going into the break. If you want to leave and actually have your break, that's completely fine. I'm going to go ahead and show a couple more projects. If you're interested, you can stay. Again, if you're not interested, you can leave. It's up to you. So some of the other projects that I found online that use Unity in a really different way, a couple of them are from a company called Tale of Tales. Who here has heard of Tale of Tales? Okay, just a few people. So they're a small independent studio that develops games, but not really the kind of games we play day to day. So let's take a look at a couple of videos from them. So the first one is called Bientôt l'été, which I guess is how it's pronounced. It's French, and my French is horrendous. Could we get the projector view? Thank you.
On T Beach, or a woman. I don't know, I'll decide later. The man is alone. There is wind and waves and sky. And the man, or the woman, he closes his eyes, the glowing energy of machines. What? This is not real? He opens his eyes, looks around and around again. Then he walks, or she, and the gulls fly away. The beach is endless. Everything disappears, becomes fluid, becomes immense. We are lost in space, looking for a man or a woman to talk to, in French, if possible. Far away, nearly summer.
There's another video that attempts to describe this game, and these videos are actually by the developers. So the game being an art game is kind of hard to describe to people, and this is actually their attempt to describe it. But let's watch another one of those. Could we get the video? Thank you.
There's a man on a beach. The beach is empty, empty as his heart, a heart alone, abandoned love. Love was left in the warmth of her digital breath. Her breath as neon glow, glow as the sun sleeping in pillows, the pillows of clouds, the clouds form a bed for my soul, a soul that is restless. Restless like the gulls on the beach in my heart. My heart pulses waves of blood through my veins pulled by the moon, a cold heart of the galaxy at the end of the boardwalk she used to walk on, walking slowly, an old woman. A woman alone, a woman studying love as a scientist experimenting in the laboratory of her heart. Her heart an ocean, waves of life. Life is cherished in the harshness of space. Space embraces us, crushes us with its hollow breath of a lover at the table with the chessboard. A board receives your move. Move me with your moves, move away, then move away. Away from the warmth, the silence inside. Inside disappears when we are on the beach. The beach, caressed by waves as fingers of the moon. The moon, heart of emptiness, empty full, heart to conquer, heart to move the piece with words from the writer, the woman, there's a woman on the beach. The beach is empty as her heart. A heart alone, abandoned love was left in the warmth of his digital breath, his breath as neon glow as the sun sleeping in pillows, the pillows of clouds. The clouds form a bed for my soul, a soul that is restless like the gulls of the seagulls of the moon of the sand of the moon of the water of the waves of the veins in the body that you touch.
So this is Tale of Tales' latest project that's actually out and released. They have another project for the iPad where you make love to your iPad, but I didn't get to show that. So their previous project is called The Graveyard, and it is much simpler to understand what's going on, so let's quickly take a look at that one. For the sake of time, I'm probably going to not go to the end of the video and skip a little part of it, because most of it is this older woman walking towards a bench. So I'm going to speed it up for a second.
Het jaar 8, het jaar 40, ja die Irma was nog jong. Het was een Duitser met de tering, te groot hart, te zwakke long. René, die had een vleesboom, tante Mo is in haar slaap, doodgevallen in een droom. En nooit meer opgeraakt. Kijk, dat is Emma doodgeboren, zie dat Jur niet overloopt. Haar portret al lang verloren, een blauw kruisje nooit gedoopt. En Roger, dat was de kanker, die heeft zichzelf overgroeid. Als een klim op te hoog wordt, hangt er te veel schaduw weggesnoeid. Zoutzuur op haar duim, witte bubbels, geel schuim. Staalwol om het roest te wassen, jaar en datum weg te krassen. En een beitel voor je eigen naam. Voor als we komen te gaan.
And in the rest of the video, the old lady walks out of the graveyard. So, as you can see, the games that Tale of Tales make aren't really games where you just rack up points and kill enemies. It's more about getting the player in a certain mood, getting them to feel certain emotions through the story and the audio visuals. Let's move on to the next project, and that one is, let's see. Let's look at Treachery of Sanctuary.
It'd be cool if I stand on that side of you just so I'm not shooting into the sun.
Yeah,
but then you'll
I think it looks really stupid. Like this is like where I live, or we've gone out into my backyard.
Check my shit out, MTV
yeah, it's where I live. It's my crib.
Music videos directors make so much money these days.
I heard that back in the day they did though.
This is kind of an interview sort of video, so I'm going to skip to the part that actually shows the project.
So it's a triptych where the 3 individual panels represent the process of creative conception. This is something that I struggle with constantly. So the first panel where your body disintegrates into the birds, that represents that initial moment of conception. It's the moment of inspiration, it's the lightning in a bottle, it's the purest moment of the idea that there is. So this essentially represents birth. Now the second panel is representative of the critical response, either by your own self-doubt, outside critical forces, or just the impossibilities presented through the process of production. This is what it feels like to have your purest expression picked apart by 1,000 angry beaks. In other words, this panel is death. The third panel, where you sprout the giant wings, represents that feeling when somehow you and the idea are able to transcend that death in the panel before. The idea sort of transforms through the process of abstraction into something that's larger ultimately than its original. So this panel is transfiguration.
I first got involved with the project when Chris came to me with the treatment and the sort of initial idea. And the Creates project we're interested in.
Again, for the sake of time, I'm just going to keep moving on real quick. For each of these projects, I gathered, when I could, the links for how the project was actually accomplished web pages, and I'm going to share that over Twitter, hopefully, within the next couple of days. And at the end of when I'm done, I'm going to give you my Twitter handle so you can see when that data is released. The next project is Fracture.io. I need 1 second to find it. Let's switch to the video. So we have a longer video that kind of explains the project, but what's basically happening here is they're going one step further in the photo booth experience. What they're doing is you stand in a pose, they have Kinect cameras that kind of capture your body, and then they wrap splines around your body and grow gems around it, and then the Unity is being displayed to view that content. Let's switch back to the video. Unfortunately, I have to cut the video because we've run out of time. Really sorry about that. I did have a couple more projects to show that I was really excited about, but let me just bring up a text edit window over here. Could we switch back to the video or the second monitor? Thank you. My Twitter handle is Voxelboy. And how do I make this bigger? Oh, geez. There you go. Over the next couple of days, I'll be tweeting the links to all these projects, also how they were made, and the links to the videos that I showed. So hopefully if you found any of them really interesting, you can go check up on them. Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you very much for attending.